What's up, everybody? My name is Jacob Hardison, and it's break-in day. Welcome back, everybody, to, of course, the lovely Adrenaline RC YouTube channel, where today we continue with our TLR tuned Typhon build. And as we know, everything is brand spanking new, which means we've got some final setups to do. And of course, we have to break in the driveline before we can really get a good baseline. So today we're going to go ahead, set our droop, camber, and ride height. I'll get my steering set up. We'll of course do all of that on video, and then we will hit the track for the very first time with the kit setup using the kit tires. I don't know why I say kit, because I guess it's not really a kit, but you guys know what I mean. So we'll run through all of the basics to make sure everything is set up properly for the track, throw the tires on it, and we'll see how it goes. And the reason why today is going to be break-in day rather than an actual test and tune starting day is because when you have a brand new car, you of course have to break in all of like your diff internals, all of like your metal on metal stuff. You have to break in the driveline itself. So basically, when the driveline is brand new, imagine a perfect circle as your pin, and your contact from that pin to something like your outdrive is very, very small. So as you break it in, that pin becomes flatter and you get what's called mechanical bind, and that mechanical bind then helps to create more grip with the car. Plus, you just kind of have to wear everything in. Then after you do that, then we can go ahead and do our first rebuild, so that way we know there's fresh oils in the diffs, get any sort of like metal particle bits out of it. Everything's nice, fresh, and clean. And like I said, we can get a good baseline. So that's all today is just getting everything to a good starting point so we can get some good data. So we'll go ahead and go over the three things that I said before in the order I said: droop, then camber, then ride height. In theory, it maybe matters a little bit what the technical order is, but for what we're doing of break-in, it's not really going to make a huge difference, and I'll have to go back and reset that after we do the break-in anyway. So it's not going to matter a whole lot. But without further ado, now that we've done our introduction rambling, we can go ahead and start setting this guy up. We've now transitioned over to our lovely setup table here, where, like I said before, we're going to start out with setting our droop, which means we're going to need our ride height gauge, and then I've already got it on our droop blocks. Now, I'm going to do a +4, -4 setup, or at least try to, which should be a very basic kind of starting point. And basically what that means is that I'm on a 36 mil droop block, which means +4 should theoretically read 40 millimeters on the ride height gauge for the front, and then -4 should read 32 on the back. And then that's just going to get us a good baseline to start with. So let's jump into that. All right, so taking a look here, you can see the difference we've made from this side to this side. This is the side that we've adjusted already, and then the rear had to move a little bit, so we've adjusted this side as well. Rear looks pretty good. Front might be a little lacking on the droop, so I think I'm gonna go and actually add a touch more. So instead of doing something like that +4, I think we're just gonna do like a +2, allow this suspension to kind of move a little bit more free. Take a look at that from the front. And that looks much more appropriate. So we'll go ahead and flip it over and match it onto the other side. All right, and there we have it. Our droop is set. Take a look at that from the front. That looks fairly appropriate. I think you guys can see that okay in the camera. At the very least, it'll be enough to get a good baseline to start with. So from here, we can go ahead and move our droop blocks out of the way, grab our tires, throw them on, and then we can do our ride height and camber. All right, tires are on and we are set to go. I think we'll go ahead and we'll just set ride height real quick, and we'll go from there. For a good baseline, since I'm going to start this on our outdoor track, I'm going to go ahead and do like 25 millimeters in the front, 27 in the back, of which in theory, as we drive, that will most likely drop a little bit as it kind of starts to break in create some of that bind. So we'll have to, of course, go readjust that later on, but it'll be a good start point. So just like we saw in my droop camber ride height video, we'll go ahead and drop it. Actually, we'll get it to roll slightly forward. It didn't roll forward much there. Once I get in here and actually set it, I'll do a little better job, but let's get our ride height set. And there we are with our ride height set. Interestingly enough, our rear actually was already set to 27. I had to lower the front just a touch, but nothing too crazy at all. But now we get to take care of this rear camber, which, as you can see, is pretty aggressive. So we'll go ahead and get that set next, and that'll be our final base setup end of things to do. Obviously, with this car, we can't do anything on the front because it is a pillow ball. Well, I can adjust the shims up here, but we're just gonna leave it factory for right now. So let's go ahead and get our rear camber set. All right, and there we are set on this side here, and you can see how much of a difference that has already made on our camber. So now we're gonna match it to our driver's side. And there we have it. Rear camber is set and ready to go. So we are just about ready to hit the track with this guy. From here, I do need to power it up. I gotta grab my radio, and we will go ahead and set the steering endpoints. All right, so I did swap the view up on you guys a little bit here just to get a slightly more authentic view of setting up the steering. Of course, this is going to be sped up like our other setup stuff, but if you want to see a more detailed version of this, go ahead and definitely check out the video where I teach you guys how to set up all your steering stuff. But from here, we're just gonna make sure our steering rack is centered. These toe links out of the box should be the exact same, so I shouldn't have to measure those at all. And then we can go ahead and set our full throw points. Obviously, make sure our servo isn't reversed at all as well. And we should be just about ready to go. So we'll power this up and we'll get started. There we are centered up on the rack. Let me power this off. We are powered up. No, we're not powered up. We're powered down now, but we are all centered up. And we have our throw points set from side to side. So we are all set to go there. I believe we are just about ready to hit the track for the very, very first time. So we'll pick you guys up here. Get one final look at this beautiful vehicle. Let me set it up on top here real quick to get a better idea. One last look at this nice pretty vehicle before it gets all super duper dirty. And then one thing that I did forget to say while I was doing the intro earlier is I have a new camera. So we're gonna try it out for the very first time today to get some actual driving footage of me driving around our lovely TLR tuned Typhon, and we're gonna see how it goes. I've never used this before. I've never recorded with it before. So let's see how it goes. Whoa, that was cool. Glad I got that on video. Yeah, really the only struggling part of this right now is just the steering. Maybe add a little more droop.
Recording audio.
I think it's doing everything. I'm getting live feedback. And then it seems like that the front is maybe a touch on the soft side, rear the touch on the sit side. No, rough landing. Because the rear doesn't move at all. The front moves an okay amount. Alrighty guys, we are back inside after pack number 1 as you saw, and we've run into a couple of things. So it turns out the tape that comes with the speed control is not very cash money, and I need to add a little bit of Loctite to my fan mount, of which I've gone ahead and gotten those taken care of. But the big thing is my front droop has magically gone missing. So I'm going to go ahead, pull the tires off real quick, reset our droop all the way around, reset our ride height, and then we will head out for pack number 2. All right, so we've got one more update. We're gonna swap to a U set of green reflex that I just happen to have on hand. It's not the most ideal compound, but for what we're doing, it'll work because our stock tires decided they were going to rip the foam as well as come unglued. So as I was gluing these back on, I realized that the foam was completely ripped. So nice work. Excellent stock tires. But we've got a halfway decent set on there now, so we'll see how these do. Obviously, we're still breaking in, but they should be, hopefully, a little bit nicer, maybe a little bit better grip on the track. So we will head back to the track now. All right, so here we are with pack number 2 update. As you guys just saw, we ran another battery pack through the car to continue our break-in. And honestly, it's driving pretty well. Once we got the droop situated, reset the ride height, suspension is doing halfway decent. Definitely still on the bouncy side with this stock setup. But of course, the most important thing is to get our driveline nice and broken in, of which after 2 packs, you can see there's not much happening there. So I think we'll get a 3rd pack in to actually get the diffs themselves broken in, and then we'll replace our front, center, and rear diff oil so we can have a good baseline there. These tires definitely a lot better than those stock tires over there. So this is a green reflex, like I said, which in theory, compound-wise, shouldn't be the most ideal, which you can see by the lovely wear we have on there, but definitely super solid. The real hang-up that I thought we were going to have was going to be this servo saver down here, but honestly, it's not doing too bad. I'm not really experiencing a whole lot of inconsistency with it. So far, so good. Car's driving well. We'll get our 3rd pack charged up on our charger over there in my lovely mess of a pit area, and we will finish out our break-in video. All right, so that is day number 1 complete with our TLR tuned Typhon, and it went pretty well. Even with these now bald green reflexes, it drove around very well. And I have to say, I was a little worried after that first pack with the steering being very numb feeling, like it didn't feel like it had enough just throw in general. And then obviously with the droop getting all funky, but with just throwing on a good set of tires, which backs up one of my previous claims that a good set of tires is 75% of your setup, it is driving around very, very well. I was hoping that it was going to be worse, so that way we could see a more dramatic move as we went through this series, but the base setup that they send with it is fairly decent. It's nothing terrible. I mean, is it going to be the most golden thing all the time? Probably not, but for an out-of-the-box car, just doing very basic geometry setup stuff, which is stuff you're going to do to any vehicle, I'm pretty happy with how it came out. So we're starting out really solid here. Like I said, I mean, these tires are basically bald now, and I felt like I could still drive around fairly consistently. I think the only thing going into next video that I am going to swap out part-wise, which we'll do in the next video, is going to be to throw that Hot Racing servo saver on, just because we didn't experience a whole lot of issue today, and I think that's because the track had some like fluff and loam to it. But I imagine when grip comes up, we'll see a little bit more of that steering kind of wobble from the servo saver just saving too much. But that'll, of course, like I said, be in next video. Now that we've gotten our break-in stuff done, also in next video, we'll go through, do all of our base rebuild stuff, get all the nasty metal junk, any particle bits out of the diff oil, throw fresh diff oil in it, and just kind of get everything freshened up and ready to go. And then we'll start out after we do that rebuild next video with getting some baseline data, and then we'll start messing with the car and seeing what we can figure out. So really looking forward to continuing this series. Very impressed with how it started out so far with doing literally nothing except changing out tires. So we'll see where it goes from here. Thank you guys for joining me today, and we'll see you next week for an all-new video.